Hello students. So today we are going to start our unit 2, and in this unit we will understand some of the basic concepts, and here I am going to show you that what are the things we are going to learn in the unit 2. So in this unit we will understand about the machine instruction and programs. In the machine instruction and program section we will learn about memory location and addresses, memory operations, instruction and instruction sequencing, addressing modes, and execution of a complete instruction and single bus organization. In the control unit of operation, we will learn about the instruction sequencing, micro operations and register transfer, hardwired control and microprogrammed control basics, operations and micro program sequencing. And in the performance, we will learn about the processor clock, basic performance equation, clock rate and performance measurement, and concept of the pipelining and Amdahl's law. Okay, so this was about the content of the slide and about the unit, and now we will see about what is memory location and the addresses. So before starting our conversation, let's remind some of the basic things. For example, if my 0 and 1 is there, so it is a lowest unit of the digital unit, and it is known as bit, and 4 bits makes a nibble, and 8 bit consists byte, and a word is consist of 16 bits or more, and 1k is 2 raised power 10, and 1 mega is 2 raised power 20 bits, and 1 giga is equal to 2 raised power 30 bits. So that's about the memory location and addresses. For n-bit addresses, address bus, we have 2 raised power n memory locations can be addressed, and the range of the addresses is from 0 to 2 raised power n minus 1. For example, if a 16-bit bus is there, then 2 raised power 16 and 2 raised power 10 cross 2 raised power 6 means around 64 kilo locations we can be assessed, and will be in the range of 0 to 2 raised power 16 minus 1. So there is one diagram here. We can see that there is one CPU and another is memory, and this memory is can be addressed using n-bit address bus, and there is a m-bit data. There is a m-bit data here, and now in this m-bit data address bus, sorry, this is not address bus. This is data. This is data bus. Okay, so this is data bus actually, and so we have m-bit 8 data bus which is fixed, and there is n-bit address bus for the memory location. Basically, a computer can understand only the n-bit address, and it knows all its peripherals, memory and input-output device using this n-bit address only. So all the devices must come in this range, means all the devices, all the input-output devices, all the memory locations and all the peripherals must come in this range. Okay, then only the CPU can address the particular device and particular input-output device. So next let's see about the memory words. Now there is a n-bit word. If we say 32-bit computer, then it is a 32-bit address bus, and this 32-bit address bus can contain 32-bit location of the memory. So if it is a location, and if it is a first word, then this first word should maybe B0 to B31, and B31 is my sign bit for the integer numbers, and integer numbers, this is a 0 for positive and 1 for negative. You know about it, and we have already have a healthy discussion about it. And now we have the ASCII characters. For each ASCII character, it contain 8 bits. So in a particular location of a memory, 32-bit location of a memory, we have 4 ASCII characters in this range. Okay, so now we have n-bit, which is a data, and we have first word, and we have second word, and this is a ith word. So it is my location. This is my location of some data, of any data. Okay, so now how can I store it? I can store it in two formats. One is big endian and another is little endian format. So in the big endian, the higher byte will ended with the higher one, and the lower byte ended with the lower one. And in this case, we can see that there is a two things. One is starting from 0 to 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so raised power, and so it is a it will be in the range of 2 raised power k minus 1, and another is a 0 to 2 raised power k minus 4. So it is my operation, it is my way assignment of the data in a device in a memory basically. So you may understand it. You can see these things, that how the data is stored in a memory system. So for example, if we have a device, if we have some data in hexadecimal format, and it is like 2C18 for example. So in the big endian format, it will store like it will be stored in the format, in the big endian format, it will be stored as it is looking. Okay, it will be stored as it is looking. But in case of the little endian format, it will be stored as, in the little endian format, it will be stored as 2C18 will be stored as, it will be 81C2. It will be stored at like that. Okay, so that's how our data is stored in a little endian format and in a big endian format. And now if I have a single byte, and if I say, if I have a single byte, for example 1, if I have a single byte, so it is 1 0 1 1 0 0 0 1. If it is a single byte, then for big endian format, it is the same as it is looking. But if it is a little endian format, then my data will be 1 0 0 0 1 1 0 1, like that. Okay, so all the bits will be stored as like that. Okay, so it is a big endian and little endian format. And now let's see another thing. What are the memory operations? So in the memory operations, we have this kind of the block diagram. And we have CPU and we have memory. So CPU provide a chip select operation, and chip select operation just to select the memory IC. And now the CPU provides the n-bit address bus, which is sorry, it is not bidirectional, it is unidirectional. Please, it is data bus basically. I will say if it is data bus, and if it is a address bus. Okay, so this is the case. So now if we have n-bit data bus, which is bidirectional, and m-bit address bus, which is unidirectional, and now we have two operations on it, on the data. Either I have to read the data from the memory, or I have to write the data from the to the memory. Okay, so so we have read write operation, we have two operation in this case. So now let's see the instruction and instruction sequencing. So in instruction and instruction sequencing, we will learn about how the instructions are works over it, and how the instructions are needed, why the instructions are needed, and how they work in a computing system. Okay, so a computer must have instructions capable of performing four types of the operations. One is data data transfers between the memory and the processor registers, arithmetic and logic operations on the data. So these four types of the functions we need from a data. Another is the program sequencing control and input output transfer. So these four types of functions we need from a instructions. So to understand the things, we have two types of the notation for the for our computing system. One is register transfer notation. In this register transfer notation, we say all our terms in terms of the registers, loading registers. So if for example, if it is a load R2 location, so that means the memory, from a memory location, the data will be copied to the R2 register. And if R2 plus R3 is there, then the data of the R2 and the data of the R3 will be added, and the result will be stored in a R4 register. And in the assembly language notation, the same thing can be written as load R2 location. It is the same, but in that case it will be like add R4 R2. So the location add R4 R2 means it can be it can add R2 into R4, and the content of the R2 will be added to the R4, and the result will be stored in R4. So we have two type of the instruction. One is CISC type instruction and RISC type of instruction. CISC is a complex instruction set computer system. So it is a complex in number, means for each and every task we need to define a complete instruction for it, and it is distributed in nature, and it is easily to understand. So we can see that what is the complex instruction set computing system. So a complex instruction set computer is a computer where single instruction can execute several low levels operations, such as load from memory, and arithmetic operation, and a memory store. So we need actually these type of the operation. Whenever we need to execute any instruction, we need to fetch the data from the memory, we need some operation on it, then we need to store the result into the memory again. Then this type of operation we needed actually. So for this case we will use the complex instruction set computing system, and so this is basically capable of a multi-step operation or addressing modes within single instruction, as its name suggests, a some complex instruction set. So it is complex in nature, and it can execute multiple operation in a single instruction. So these are some examples where this type of instructions is available. And now let's see the reduced instruction set computing system. A reduced instruction set is which only uses simple instructions that can be divided into multiple instructions which perform low level operations, and within single clock cycle, as its name suggests, a reduced instruction set. So basically in a single instruction, in this instruction we need multiple clock cycles to execute. In this instruction set computing we need only single clock cycle, and in a single clock cycle multiple of operations can be assessed and completed. So these are some of the processors where your reduced instruction set computing instruction were used. And now let's see the straight line sequencing. So basically whatever we have one of the data, one of the program which is like that: load R2A, load R3B, add R4 R2 R3, and R4C. Okay, so for example, this is my program. Here you can see my program, and in this program you will the program is to add two operands A and B, and these operands will be stored in R4, and then this R4 will be stored in a location, memory location C. So you can see here that all the executions, all the address, all your instructions are writing in sequences, right? And it is in a straight line sequence, and there is no any jump, there is no any call. That is a straight line sequence, and the all the instructions will be stored one by one. Okay, means firstly the load R2A, load R3B, add R4 R2 R3, and store R4C. So all these instructions are you may say that all these instructions are written sequentially, and all these instructions has been stored in the memory sequentially. Okay, so that is how the sequencing is happening. Okay, so if we have multiple numbers to add, then I have to write all these numbers sequentially, and then only I can add these numbers. And when my all the program will completed, then I have to store my result in a some memory location. For example, sum is the sum, and it is a memory location, and this memory location can be stored using store R2 sum. So this is all about this lecture, and in my next lecture I will tell you that how the instructions have been generated and how can I use them, and also I will tell you about the type of the instructions, and 1 type, 2 type, 3 type, and 0 type instruction, 0 address instruction formats. And thank you for this lecture.